And welcome back. This is your man Warrior. This is another patron roster review. This is Birtles Niinja out of the Crusaders of Arc Guild. And Birtles Niinja is completely free to play. Been playing since the beginning. Did take a small break. Ouch, small breaks always hurt. However, your small break doesn't look like it's affected you nearly as bad as other players in the game, as you are still top 100 and being completely free to play. That is absolutely amazing. Now, my initial thoughts when I asked you, what did you want? You said, I don't know, kind of who to continue in gear and farm, but also maybe a little bit of ships and a little bit of arena. Your arena team, you're using kind of the strongest characters you have. I wouldn't change your Biggs and Wedge. They're going to do the most damage probably for you, for what you have. And Shore Trooper is going to kind of keep your Biggs and Wedge alive longer. So I would recommend those stay the same. Now, the two flex spots you have are going to be your Darth Maul and Stormtrooper Han, both of those. And because you have Shore Trooper, you may or may not need Stormtrooper Han, and you may or may not need Darth Maul. Now, Darth Maul does apply daze on an AoE, and so there's that. So you may want to keep Darth Maul. If you decide you want to keep Darth Maul for the daze because of how utilitarian it is and keeping all the Rex leads from getting all the extra turn meter, or you want to keep the turret and bases from countering all the time, things like that, then replace Stormtrooper Han with Emperor Palpatine. You have a great Emperor Palpatine. He's going to do stuns and shocks over their head and a lot of damage, and so I would recommend that. That's what I would do. But if you decide that you really do want that second taunt, or you want to be able to have Stormtrooper Han giving a lot of extra turn meter when people don't dispel it and they end up hitting it, then I would take Darth Maul out for Emperor Palpatine. So you'll have to decide whether you want to run two tanks or not. It's actually right now kind of good to have Stormtrooper Han, and you don't even have to have him very fast. And the reason for that is by the time they dispel your Shore Trooper, more than likely they've used their dispel capability, and now you've got Stormtrooper Han taunting later on because he's not as fast. And then what happens is now they've got to deal with a second dispel. They're gonna have to change their entire team up. So there's some strategy in there for sure. Another option you could do in arena, this would be just an alternate to what you currently have, would be to throw your Rex in the lead slot so you get all that extra turn meter, because most people aren't running a Darth Nihilus lead. Rex would be a very safe alternative lead. You could keep Shore Trooper in there, keep your Biggs and Wedge combo in there, and then you could either have Emperor Palpatine, Darth Maul, or Stormtrooper Han as your third. Now, I know a couple of teams that run Stormtrooper Han and Rex combined. With the two of them combined, they add so much extra turn meter. They really speed a team up. And for free to play, the faster your team can be without mods, the better. So those are some thoughts and ideas for arena. So that's excellent. I am going to go through your characters, your inventory, and just tell you kind of, the top 7 characters I think that you need to really focus on, both in finishing their star level and finishing their gear level. These characters you're going to want to put in your favorites tab and then work on them to make sure that you are kind of completing it. Now, the top 7 for you are going to be different than other people, but some of them may be the same. So let's go ahead and go right through them. Number 1, and everybody always gives me guff about it, but number 1 is the B2 Super Battle Droid. Definitely want to be in the top 7. He's amazing. If you run into one of those Rebel teams or Sith teams that you just can't get through, throwing B2 in your team almost always solves the problem. Almost always solves the problem. He puts the buff immunity, he dispels, he puts evasion down. There's just so much utility. He gets tons of extra turns. I have used him so much as a stand-in, as a fill-in to my existing team. It's unbelievable. So B2 should be on your top 7, who to farm and who to gear. You've got him 7 stars, so you need to gear him up past gear 8 for sure. Number 2, TIE Fighter Pilot. The TIE Fighter Pilot is an amazing ship in the game. He's an amazing pilot. He's an amazing character. He's going to help you in the raids. He's going to help you as a stand-in, as a fill-in for your arena team. So I would definitely recommend the TIE Fighter Pilot as number 2 to farm and gear. You got him 5-star and you've got him leveled up a little bit. So you're just going to have to continue to gear him and continue to star him. Number 3 is Kylo Ren. He is one of the highest you have. He's the best first order option you have, and for free to play, you're going to have to focus on specific characters, really the best characters out of each section, and he's going to be the best out of First Order. So for this faction, definitely Kylo Ren. You've got him max leveled and max starred, so continue to gear him. Put him in your favorites and continue to gear him. Same thing for your Geonosians. Sunfac is your number one. You've got him max starred, but you need to level him up and you need to gear him up. You got him gear 7. Definitely take him up all the way. Sunfac is one of those characters that he's just utilitarian. You can plug him into any team. He makes an excellent tank, an excellent counter to many of the metas that people have. The Dispel is super irritating for the opponent, and it's an absolutely great tank. Still one of the best 3 tanks in the game. Definitely recommend Sunfac. As far as your Rebels go, obviously, you've got your Biggs and Wedge, and you're going to want to continue to developing them on the side, and your Stormtrooper Han, developing him. But the number one recommendation for your Rebels, for purposes of ships, is going to be your Admiral Akbar. You've got him 7-star, gear 7. You almost got him gear 8. Keep gearing him. Definitely keep gearing him. And until you get bays, I wouldn't focus on getting turret up anymore. I wouldn't worry about turret at all. Now, if you want to spend about $10 worth of crystals, either save them up or spend $10. You can unlock bays in the store. If you do that, he's viable at 3 stars, and then you could focus on turret. It would make sense. But without bays, I wouldn't worry as free to play on turret at all. I would just focus on your Admiral Akbar as your number one rebel to really focus on. He'll help you in ships, and of course he'll help you in other areas of the game. The most important Sith, and you have a lot of Sith, and you have a lot of them geared up, and obviously you're in this current meta, so you're really working these guys hard, which is great. But Darth Nihilus is really the standout of all of these. Your Emperor Palpatine and Darth Nihilus, but Darth Nihilus is an amazing tanky utilitarian character you can use in any other team. So I would highly recommend, just like your Emperor Palpatine's leveled up and geared up, continue to gear Emperor Palpatine and get your Darth Nihilus, put him in your favorites, and really focus on gearing him up. And the last in this top 7 is Emperor Palpatine. I would definitely get your Emperor Palpatine, Darth Nihilus, Admiral Akbar, Sunfac, Kylo, TIE Fighter Pilot, and B2. Those are going to be the top 7 to gear and or star up when you can. As far as ships go, for your fleet arena, you're in the top 250, which is excellent for free to play. Again, you're doing amazing for being free to play. You are using the Biggs Wedge combo under Admiral Akbar. That's great. That's an excellent combination. But you have Rex, and you have Clone Sergeant, and you have Slave 1. I would actually take the Umbaran out of the initial lineup and put your Rex ARC ship in there in place of him. So you've got, like I said, the Rex ship right there in your top 8. I would take the Rex's ship and replace the Umbaran in your top 5. It's going to make your top 5 a little more tanky, a little more durable, and Rex is faster and doesn't give away turn meter like the Umbaran does. I know the Umbaran does a lot of damage, but you could use him in your backup. He's going to do a lot more damage in your backup. Now, you do have the Scimitar, and you don't have him in your lineup, at least in your first 5, so I would definitely put your Scimitar in number 1 slot in your backup. And then for your number 2 slot, use a tank, Sunfac. He's going to be your backup tank. So the Scimitar comes in, uses his ability. Eventually somebody else will die. Sunfac will come in. He's going to really help with that durability. And then when you open up your last 3rd slot, if you haven't already, let's see, how much do you have? Oh, you have all 3 slots open, so that's good. Your last one would probably be Jedi Consular. I'd have him in the number 3 slot, or the Umbaran Starfighter, whichever you like more. I tend to think the Jedi Consular, calling assists, putting protection up, things like that are better than the Umbaran is. So I would recommend in your 3rd slot being the Jedi Consular's ship. Just a really, really great ship in general. And so, you're doing excellent with ships and you're in a good place, but if you want to climb a little higher, you could spend, a refresh on crystals. I know a lot of people that go in and do 1 battle a day and that's it. And they sit in the top 500 and they're happy. If that's you, then that's fine. But if you want to get higher, you may need to do all 5 battles to climb and then maybe do a refresh and do that for a couple of days to climb higher than you currently are. Because once you're up there, it's a lot easier to stay up there than it is if you try to always do just 1 to 5 battles a day. You're probably never going to climb into the high spots where you want to be in Arena. So that's those. As far as ships, as far as who I'd recommend, obviously continue developing all of your top 8. I think that makes a lot of sense for you. So continue to develop those top 8. Of course, Sunfax ships down there, but the TIE Fighter and the First Order TIE Fighter, and the Imperial TIE Fighter, those two are kind of in the bottom of your rung down here, and I would actually recommend developing both the characters and their ships, and continue to gear farm and level them up. Both of those ships are excellent ships as fill-ins. You can put them in your initial lineup to replace someone like Clone Sergeant or, you know, Rex. You could put those ships in. They're extremely fast, and they do a lot of target lock, and they are going to be excellent ships for the dark side. And so anyway, those are my thoughts on your ships, but like I said, you are doing really well. So I hope this has helped you out. I hope this helps focus you on the top 7 to gear, you know, your B2, your TIE Fighter pilot, your Kylo Ren, Sunfac, Admiral Akbar, Darth Nihilus, and Emperor Palpatine. And then make sure your TIE Fighter pilot and your First Order TIE Fighter are both being developed and their ships are being geared up and starred up. As always, keep your gaming on. Warrior out.